Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. I see Terry King. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. I know that Amber and Alexis and Miss White is live. So probably won't have a lot of people coming in as of right now, and that's okay. But I just want to speak these things. Peace and blessings. Kimberly, thank you for coming through, Queen. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. I'm trying to be more, more frequent with coming live and everything like that, get into the algorithm. So thank y'all so much for rocking with me. It means a lot to me. Um, Rosalind, thank you for coming through, Queen. Peace and blessings to everyone. Peace and blessings. Um, I wanted to elaborate on some of the things on my mind and some of the things that's been going on, especially with the internet and a lot of things that can be helpful to everyone in their lives. It's something that I'm taking with myself, and I know that it can be helpful to others. I want to be a space where I can speak something that maybe that I'm going through, and it can be helpful to others. What's the word? Thank you for coming through, Queen. Um, my last video discussion, I wanted to talk about mental magic and basically speak on how, a lot of us as content creators or socializers on the internet, you know, we give a lot of ourselves on our channels, we display ourselves, and with that, a lot of the information, it can be taken and into the wrong person's hands. We never know who's viewing us, who's watching us, who's doing any of these things. And so they can utilize these things against us. And so with that, being on social media, being an influencer or being, just having your own platform, it is our best to become more discerning, to ourselves, to our character, to who we are within, so that, if anything comes our way, we become more mindful of what it is that is coming our way. Don't shift who you are because of a temporary feeling or a temporary moment. Well, today, Terry King, thank you for coming. Jay, thank you so much for coming, Queen. I really appreciate it. Today I want to speak about, um, it is the importance of energy, your time, your love, even your anger, your sadness, your hurt. All of these things are more important than, a lot of the times we like to see. Kevin King, thank you so much for coming through, bro. I really appreciate your presence. Um, and hopefully, Kev, if I'm hitting on anything, I know you be the one to know it, because you speak about a lot of these things, and they've been very inspirational to it, especially this discussion right here. um because I've been on a mind of clarity lately, and a lot of reforming and reevaluating of myself. So um thank you so much. And because none of us are perfect, and all of us, we have shown our human moments at some point in our lives. And I'm nowhere short from that, you know and but my intentions are always love, and sometimes that can somehow be an excuse, so I leave no excuse. I stand in accountability. But here is what I want to say to everyone: we have to be more mindful of, what we allow ourselves to feel or entertain at times, because when you do these things, you are allowing yourself to give away something that you have not seen in that moment to be precious. Energy is a very important thing. Energy is just as about as important as money. Okay. You know, When we speak of, you know, history and, what our ancestors went through, you know, that is a legacy. That is a legacy. It's important to become more mindful of who you are and how important you are, not only to yourself, but to your legacy, to what your ancestors fought for you to have and be today. And when we agree and allow ourselves to respond and behave and transfer our energy to something beyond our own control, that means that we are agreeing that our energy, our legacy, our story is not as important, is not that important for us to have. You give yourself away when you do these things. And it's time for everyone to start taking themselves back. Take yourself back. Understand that what you participate in is very detrimental to determining who you are and how much you care about it. And for example, you watch a movie and the movie gets you angry or scared. It gets you happy sometimes, or it makes you feel love. This right here is an agreement of energy that you are giving away to this feeling. And when you give your energy away to this feeling, you are agreeing that whoever receives that energy, whatever receives that energy, they can transfer whatever back to you or nothing at all. And they can use whatever you have given them freely without, you don't even know that you had given something away. We've been having a lot of internet beef going on and a lot of, confusion going on and, things of the sort like this, where, he who angers you controls you. And that's a deep saying. You know what I'm saying? And that's a saying that you can take with anything. He who can persuade you to feel, he who can convince you to feel, they control you. You have to take back your control. You have to take back your self-understanding, who you are. Don't let nobody trick you out of your spot. You know who you are. Be that. I am who I am because I say I am. There's no other explanation. And when you're in a moment of trying to convince something that you are that, you have already lost. You have already lost. And there's a lot of people out here who are trying so hard to a point where they are trying to convince themselves. And those with the weakest understanding, they find themselves not being in control of their behaviors, not being in control of their emotions, because they've given so much of their energy out that they've allowed themselves to no longer be in control. So, in a lot of aspects, you have a purpose, you have a destination to get to, and you're going to have a lot of blocks in the road. You're going to have a lot of distractions, and these distractions are purposely set up because they know your destination. People will get confused. Well, why don't they like me? Why are they doing this to me? But sometimes people can see something about you that you can't see about yourself. And that's not to get you upset. A lot of people get upset about this. But me personally, I take it as gratitude because they see something about you. And it is the distraction that is there to deter you from your point. But it is the strength in you that keeps you focused. It keeps you going. It keeps you getting to that destination. I like to talk about, how they got the movies where they would have somebody on the side of the road, or they'll have, the damsel in distress type of person, or, the little kid in the middle of nowhere. It is the normal thought process for a lot of people to feel as if they have to help. And that's not a bad thing. But you know how these movies, they'll show it's a trap, and then you become surrounded, you know what I'm saying, all because you didn't go, further, because you didn't move past it, um and these traps, they can be very, they can be very harmful to those who cannot see themselves finding a way out of it. Some people don't get out of those traps. Some people get stuck. Some people lose. And then you have some people who are able to get out, who are able to fight their way out and get right back on to their purpose. But here's the wisdom for everyone. You got to be more wise about, being detoured, or, having the emotions of feeling bad or wanting to help, because there's a lot of things out here in the world, principalities, things of the sort, that they play on that mindset of, you people helping, or people caring, or people hurting, emotions. A lot of people don't understand this, and I think the higher ups may feel this way, because majority of us, we can identify with helping other people, because we can identify with needing help. Josephine, thank you for coming through, Queen. We can identify how it was hard for us in a situation. And so, looking at someone else being hurt or injured, it's easy for us to relate to a situation and want to go and help them as well, so that they can be able to pick up and dust off, because we didn't have that help. So helping someone else, it would be a grand gesture, but we have to be wise, because some people use that, to trap us, to manipulate us, to hurt us, and or sometimes to even teach us the greatest lesson. It doesn't necessarily matter, just getting the point and understanding that, you make sure that you are always in a place to be able to help yourself first. And when you are helping yourself, you are able to help others and not even know it. Bless, thank you for coming through, Queen. Kimberly, thank you for coming through, Queen. I speak about Jesus a lot, okay? And I want y'all to rock with me. I know I sound like I'm all over the place, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's important for everyone to kind of get this message. And just follow me. Just follow me. Jesus, there was a rumor going around that a king would be born. And the king at that time did not like this, because this was a threat to his throne, right? A lot of people in this world, we look at titles and statuses and success as a form of someone, being of leadership, or some type of authority. And that could be the case in a lot of cases. I look to Kevin's information a lot, and he does have, a successful status within his life, so I can understand that, and he's a pure man, so I can respect that as well. Chrissy, thank you for coming through. Thank you so much, Queen. But in the story of Jesus, this king did not know what Jesus was going to look like. They didn't know which household he was going to come from, how much money he was going to have. So they went on a search. They wanted to kill all of the oldest babies, right? They wanted to, I don't know if I was supposed to say that word, but they wanted to do that, right? To prevent this new king from becoming. But either way, Jesus came, right? He was born. He was born with nothing. His parents had nothing. He grew up with less than. And I'll put it in terms of today. Let's say he grew up in the hood. He grew up having to warm his tub water over the stove. He grew up having to heat his house with the stove. He grew up, having rice and butter for dinner. He grew up, enjoying those canned Vienna sausages when they used to be 49 cents. Leela, thank you for coming through, Queen. He grew up, not necessarily having the best of clothes, having to wear hand-me-downs. Sometimes, having to, go to Salvation or any other community centers that sold dinner. He grew up with his parents not having a lot. He grew up not with the best education, because the schools in the hood don't have the best educations, right? He grew up with, getting picked on probably from not having a lot. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of people around him probably thought he was nothing. Didn't think of him to be who he is. Probably picked on him, mistreated him, abused him, manipulated him, did anything they could, because they didn't think much of him, because in the mindset of the popularity is that you're supposed to have certain things in order to be considered somebody. Well, the older he got, the king and the government, they were still looking for this person. They were still looking for the new king, So, of course, he didn't drive in the flashiest cars. He didn't have the best of clothes. He was a handyman. He did his side jobs. And he also spoke encouragement to the people. And some of the people didn't listen. Some of the people didn't care, because his disciples, they come and tell him. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the book of the Gnostics, but I've read that book, and one of the disciples told him, well, they're not listening. They won't stop and listen. And he was so frustrated. And you know what Jesus told him? Let he who has an ear hear. In other words, if they need to hear something from someone who has, in order for them to get the message, let them go find that. But those who really want to hear, those who really care, those who are really concerned with the truth, those who are listening from their hearts and not their eyes, those are the ones you speak to. Those are the ones you speak to. Jesus lived in the midst of the people. He didn't feel like he was better than. He walked right in the midst of the people. He supported the people. He cared for the people. He even made miracles of a meal from bread and fish to feed those very people. And even though he had a lot of people who believed him, who saw him through his heart, he had a lot of people who didn't. They saw him through their eyes. Probably thought he was a joke. Probably thought that, he was being deceptive. Probably thought that he was, being a manipulator, a scammer. Probably, and the king, he was already an enemy. And with all of those things, not one time did Jesus beg to convince for anybody to believe him. Not one time did he beg for anyone to at least give him a chance. He just kept going, fulfilling his purpose. And it comes the resurrection day where those very people threw stones at him, whipped him, beat him, taunted him with their words, tried to hurt every part of his heart, tried to destroy him mentally and physically. And he kept walking up the mountain with the cross on his back. He kept going with every lash, every stone thrown, every second of the people he stood in the midst of and lived his life with, bearing witness. And most of them fearlessly, without a doubt in their mind, to crucify this person, to judge this person, to hurt them, to commit murder. There's a song that says, "Must Jesus bear the cross alone?" No, there's a cross for you, and there's a cross for me. Everybody has to bear their own cross. But that day, they had no problem with Jesus bearing all of their crosses, all of their traumas, all of their hurt, all of their anger, all of their sorrows. He carried them right along with his cross. And they stumped that cross into the ground with him nailed to it. And even in the midst, some of those people still did not believe. They still did not believe. And he looked on the side of him, and he had a person on one side, and he looked on the other side, and he had another person on one side. And I can just imagine being up there for 3 days. And his first thought process is, what did I do to deserve so much disbelief? What have I committed to anyone to deserve so much hatred, so much hurt, so much pain? And before he took his last breath, I can visualize that his last breath was, his last thought was, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for the ones that believed. I am so grateful for the ones that I didn't have to try. I didn't have to fight. I didn't have to become somebody else to be understood. But the ones who did not believe, they are going to watch me rise. And then every knee shall bow. So when he took his last breath on that cross and they realized that he had passed, they took him and they buried him in the tomb. Thank you, Brother Kevin. And in that tomb is dark and no one is in there with you. And with all of the hurt, all of the pain and the wounds, all of the bloodshed, with no light, nothing to help him, he found strength and courage to rise and open his own tomb out of being tortured, beaten, sacrificed. He still found strength to remove his own tomb. See, now I don't walk in religion, and I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but I don't. I'm not religion. I'm not religious. I am spiritual. And I look a lot at Jesus' story because that's what I grew up in religion, right? And so I take a lot of my examples of life from his story, whether he be real or not. Did you get the message? That's the point, right? But I take a lot of my story and I try to walk in this path of righteousness and purity because that's what is that's the majority of your ascension. You know, everybody wants to get to heaven, right? Or to a mindset of heaven or to heaven in the afterlife. So we have to find the ideas or the examples in order to get there, right? So Jesus is my example that I use a lot. And so with me bearing my cross, with me carrying my own cross and seeing myself being stoned and battered and mistreated and abused, and even seeing the witnesses of the ones who believe me being hurt, being in a position of nothing that they can do, being in a position of their hands being tied. Sherry, thank you for coming through, Queen. I grow more love. I grow more courage. Having the ability to bear your own cross and still finding the strength to care for someone else's. And having the courage to wake up out of your own tomb, to rise, to ascend, to show that who you said you were is who you really are. It's a story that'll go down in history. It's impeccable. It is a strength like none other. It is a strength that I endure. It is a strength that I always look for gratitude within to continue to have. You know, everybody talks about Jesus being their Lord and Savior. But when you walk around mistreating or mishandling or even seeking revenge in certain aspects outside of your own good character, your higher thought process, it's not a moment to have to completely give up on your progress, but it is a moment for you to see, am I being like my Lord and Savior? Will this be pleasing? People get so far away from themselves, destined to hurt or harm someone else. They lose track. Nobody is greater than anyone, and everybody has a choice. And everybody has a choice to walk their own paths. And you can choose whatever path that is for you. But if you are choosing the path of ascension, if you are choosing the path of encouragement, become more mindful of how you are in this path, to who you are in this path. D-Ham, thank you for coming through, King. And so this is what I'm learning. This is what I'm discovering of myself. I'm no perfect from anyone, nobody is. I think the saga has taught us that, we all we all can be, one or two steps away from the glory, not necessarily with bad intent, but with our own human emotions, and that's not a hard thing to do. It's not a hard thing to do, you know. But when you rise from the tomb, when you rise from, carrying that cross and becoming in full discovery of who you are, it's a greater feeling than everything that was in your path to take you away from it. And Jesus could have very much so given up from his path. He could have very much so, walked away, or, he could have very much so, felt all the emotions of hurt and given up. But then that would have been the victory of those who did not want him to get there. And you got to do it for the ones who do. And most importantly, you got to do it for yourself. You have to continue, because you have a destiny. You have a purpose. And you cannot distract yourself with the small things that keep you emotionally bound, that make you want to, lose yourself in those moments. You have to remember who you are, because there's a line of ancestors that have fought for this very day for you to be here, to exist. And it's important for you to continue. It's important for you to give to what they give you, what they've given you. It's important for you to give it to your children. It's important for them to know to give it to theirs. I even talk about, Peter and why he betrayed Jesus. And Jesus knew that he would. Peter betrayed Jesus because of his own lack of self-esteem, his own lack of courage, his own fear. Peter was not ready to bear his own cross. He didn't want the same fate as Jesus. And so he he fled from his obligation to stand. And see, when you have moments of emotions, when you have moments where people can say things or do things to get you out of your character, you become a Peter to your own story. You have to become your Jesus. Stand in accountability, stand in your truth, stand in your light, stand in your courage, know your purpose, know where you're going, know where you have been, know what you have gone through. Any moment of discouragement, it can become very crucial. You know who you are. You know what you have went through. You know what you have endured. You know what you have worked for. And I just, I want to give some encouragement. When you are changing your environment that you have been used to, the people within this environment that you have gotten attached to, at times they can become very frustrated. It can become very frustrating to them. But that is because this environment has become something comfortable for you. But there's a stairway to heaven, and every step is important. And you can't mix the next step because you're so comfortable on this one. You have to be willing to let it go so that you can continue to grow. That one, thank you for coming through, Queen. Because what people fail to understand is a tree cannot be a tree if it doesn't accept having to grow. It becomes stronger and taller. It changes the environment around them. Because the environment first started off with it is not even needing its existence. And then it was okay with it being just a small stem. But the tree had to be determined that it was going to be a tree. So with every moment of its growth, it kept going. And so things are going to change around you. Things are going to shift. Things are going to move. Some people can't stay. Some people can't go. New people will come. And love them all, past and future. But keep going. Keep going. And even if you don't have it all right now, I'm pretty sure the tree couldn't envision what it would look like when it was finished growing. What you are doing is you're taking a mist of nothing and you are actively creating something as you grow. What is there will be there because you're making it exist. You're doing it. So, with all of this, I hope that everyone understands that the time that you have spent giving away your energy with your emotions, with your hurt, with your wanting to prove, with your wanting to defend, with your wanting to care. Make sure that you're finding a balance to give all of those things back to yourself and to never get so distracted from your purpose that you don't see one at all. You know, we get so used to the everyday world where, we go to work, we come home, take care of the kids, watch television, do a little cleaning, personal needs, and then we go to sleep. And that becomes our environment. And then a lot of us thinks that this is our sole purpose for being here, and actually in all truth, that you got something else that's supposed to be done. Nobody is here by coincidence or mistake. Everyone is in existence right now because they have a purpose. And everyone here, just because you feel as if you may have fulfilled something, every day that you've lived past that fulfillment, there is another step in your purpose. I tell people all the time, especially, I like to, have discussions about religion. Every day that you wake up here, that means that you have not made it to heaven yet. So thus, you still have something to do. Having the mindset of knowing it all, having it all, you have failed, or you're failing. And every day is a day that you get it right. It's a world of people that play on our ignorance. It's a world of people that play on us being gullible. It's a world of people that play on our heartstrings, knowing that we will care, knowing that, we will love, because it's in our human nature. So a lot of these blocks in your life is because they know you will care. It's because they know that it will hurt you. It's because they know that this will make you happy. It's because they know that this will make you sad. But it's up to you to see that for what it is and keep going through your purpose. It is up to you to acknowledge it for what it is. I agree that I feel this way about it, but I'm going to keep going. I agree that I care about you, but I'm going to keep going. I agree that I really don't care about you, but I'm going to keep going. See, thank you, D Ham King. Strength is not, and I think even Kevin spoke about strength in one of his videos. Um I can't repeat it verbatim, but it was a really good point. Um Strength is not always in physical. Strength is in mental. You have to be mentally strong, especially in understanding who you are and how important your existence is. You keep going. And there's moments of us being weary, and that's understandable. But don't dwell so long in that moment. You keep going. You keep pushing to figure out what that purpose is for you. And anybody who falls to the waistline, they fall, no matter how hard it hurts. And if they're meant to be, they'll get back up and they'll come right back and join you because they have to identify the strength in them. And when they're able to identify the strength in them, it's going to make the reunion so much better. And I know that I've been wanting to come live and do some more video breakdowns and everything, and I'm still working on this, okay? But I did want to come and give some words of encouragement, things that I've been thinking and dwelling on within my own thought process, helping with my own growth and seeing if it would help with everyone else's, um, because we live in trying times, but your destiny is it's right over the trying, you know, and so that's what should keep us going. That should keep us, focused. And we may not have it all together right now, but who's to say that that's how it's supposed to be anyway? You know, this is all a part of the growth, all a part of the journey. The tree didn't come out of the ground as a tree; it grew. So this is a start of growth. And I may not have everything together, but I have this. I have this. And giving your all doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have it all in order to give it. Sometimes you just do. And I'm all about the people. And so I want to give these encouraging words, especially, with us being in the saga and everything and all of the confusion, all of the hurt, all of the things that have been transpiring. And, hopefully, this can help with all of us, just being encouraged and, uplifting one another because, this is what we need. This is what we have to understand, you know, and I know Kev knows, because just being in the situations of being betrayed by friends and being lied on and being mistreated, you know all of those scars and all of those wounds. Kevin had to carry a heavy cross, and all of us were here. And one thing that I can say about this story is I am so happy that a lot of us found the courage to stand in the midst and shield him from some of those rocks, some of those stones, and try to help him carry that cross. Because we all know how it feels to have to do that on our own. And I know that he knows how that feels to have to do it on his own because it was his first ascension to get him to being who he is as far as his enlightenment on the internet, right? So his second ascension, you don't have to carry all of that on your own, bro. Lolita, thank you for coming through, Queen. Yes, Kevin, I understand completely, and we live in a world where we are all imperfectly perfect, and a lot of us can have a tendency to forget at times. But the most powerful part of it all is that we all know and we all felt it. We all felt it. And I hope, my biggest hope is that you and your family, you know, you guys see that, at least see it, Much love, much love. Being on the internet and having, a lot of people um coming after your character is not something that we go through on a regular. It's not an everyday thing for a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? It's something that's out of the norm, you know, and it's not okay. So, we all do the best that we can, and a lot of us, a lot of the YouTube content creators and subscribers, you guys got a lot of strength and a lot of courage. And so I just want to be a part of, encouraging you back, because you guys have been very amazing people. So, that I hope that I hope that I have shown my light. Um, and I'll continue to be encouraging, to give my thoughts, because um I think it's necessary. I think it'll be helpful, and I think that especially in a time like this, with so much hurt, so much damage, you know, it's time for everybody to have some form of healing, and any way that I can, I wouldn't mind being a part of that healing. It's necessary, because I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through a lot in my life. I've seen a lot. I know a lot. Things that I don't speak of. Things that I try not to speak of. Things that I have fall short of speaking of. But I use all of these things to try to figure out a space for everyone to have some type of wisdom from it, so that we can continue to grow. Because it's so much damage going on in the world. I don't want to be a contribution to that. I know I'm not trying to. See, love, and I'm gonna speak about this, but love is something that we cannot manipulate. It's something that um we should not abuse. It's something that we shouldn't mishandle or mistreat, because love is one of the closest things, or utensils, that the Almighty favors. So, I use a lot of love. I try to be a person. Everything that I do is with love. You know, when I'm mad, it's with love. When I'm love, it's with love. When I'm in friendships, it's with love. I don't have no malicious motive with it or anything like that. Even if the outcome isn't the greatest, I walk in all things with love, because I know what it feels like to not have it. I know what it feels like to not necessarily receive it, you know. So love is what I give to everyone that I know. I mean, that's all I know. That's because that's all I made myself to know. And that's all I'm gonna continue to do, because it feels so much better. It's more freeing. It's no guilt on me, because I gave everything with love. And it may not have been perfect. It may not have been what, some people would have wish it would have been, but it's a continuing learning thing for myself, where I am growing. But my intentions is to grow further in love. The more I learn about love, the more I'm gonna share it, the more I'm gonna be it. You know. Um I've noticed, ever since I was a little girl, just being, you know, misused, because, I was just being, loved. That's it, or a lot of people being aggravated by me, um, because I was just being loved, and I never understood why a lot of things happened to me, especially when, I was just trying and trying and trying. And it just came to me that, a lot of people, you know, they're they're seeing things through their reality, where this does not normally exist. You know, this doesn't necessarily happen on an everyday basis. A lot of people that are that are around them, they don't necessarily give this, especially without wanting something in return. or, uh, being able to relate to somebody because of, the hurt that they might have endured, with some inch of selfishness, I mean, I got some selfish tendencies about myself too, but it's because it's like a tug of war. My life has been a tug of war with a lot of people, you know, trying to fill their void with what Angie gonna do it, or Angie has this, or you know, Angie, we can do this to Angie and she'll be all right, you know. And so that's what I've dealt with a lot in my life. And I don't hate anybody for it. It's because of their own. Everybody got their own journey, but it's made me greater to realize, you know, it's a power that I have because of it. Sherry, thank you for coming through. Yes, yes, Sherry. Yes. It's a power within me because I walk in efforts of love. People see love as, relationships or, stuff like that. But I see love in everything, you know, love with people that walk by, strangers, love with, my friends, love with even my enemies, I just love. It's so much easier. I've never been a hater. I've never hated, to an extent of where everybody else just be hating on people. Not everybody else, but some people just be hating. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not in me. I don't have the energy to just be hating on somebody. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Look at her. She wearing her hair like this. Well, if she feel good, let her feel good. It's not. Nancy, thank you for coming through, Queen. Robin, thank you for coming through, Queen. Love. I think the Almighty has a great, a great, a great feeling for those who can just walk in love. And some people just be mad because I'm in love with myself. Being in love with yourself is not something that has to be egotistical. It's just something that you wake up with yourself, you go to sleep with yourself. You have to be accepting of yourself, your mistakes, your rights, your wrongs. Don't be too big headed to where you can't apologize, and don't be so small minded to where you can't see where you went wrong. Be open so that it can be something that everybody else can be open to as well. Be encouraging so that everybody, people can be encouraging as well. Love is a freeing thing. And it's been a lot of things in my life that tried to make me, resist this feeling that I have about love. Wanting me to be angry, depressed, down, without, feeling less than, you know, um, alone. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten to a place where I have fallen so much in love with being with myself that I don't even realize if I'm alone or not. I'm not lonely at all. I found so much peace with love that, I don't feel down about myself whatsoever. I'm actually quite comfortable within myself. Everybody has to live in their own skin. And if anything or anyone is out here making you feel as if you should not be comfortable in your own skin, it is not for you, it is against you. We are all here, divinely different, uniquely different. Nobody is the same. So if anybody is looking at you and trying to make you feel as if you should not feel comfortable within yourself because something about you is different. It is only because they don't feel confident or comfortable with what is different with them. I am different, and I'm okay with that. You are different, and because that you are beautiful, you are loved. I love you. Well, I done been on here for an hour, and I appreciate every last one of y'all for rocking with me. My next video, I'm going to have a video that I want to show you guys. And this video is going to be, I mean, it's going to be powerful, but I want to show you guys a powerful story that we're all familiar with, but I can kind of relate to this story. And I think that you guys are gonna love it. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna do a video breakdown on this video, okay? And I'm just gonna, with all the thoughts within my mind, I'm gonna share it with y'all because I do a lot of mindful thinking and I do a lot of meditating and being to myself. I kind of think throughout the day, so I got a lot of thoughts, right? But I'm gonna share it to y'all, and not only am I gonna share it with y'all, but I'm gonna put my own little mix to it, my own little flavor. Put a little sauce to it, give y'all some entertainment, right? And thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much, King. I really appreciate you. And I'm gonna put some sauce on it for you, okay? Because um, you know, everybody's looking for a particular look as to what intelligence is. When it comes to Angie, I want everybody to know my intellect is not determined, nor is it defined by the popularity thought process of anything. Angie is something that you cannot necessarily predict. Um, I'm Angie, and then I'm an amazingly unpredictable being with great attributes, and always I am always looking for the greatness in myself and others. So you have no fear. If you come with genuine love, I come with genuine love back always. Thank you so much, Kev. All right, and one thing about it, Kev, you got some amazing videos because it was your videos that helped me in a time where I did not know myself. I really appreciate you, King. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. I'll see y'all next time when I come, okay? And I'm gonna make a thumbnail so everybody will know what time I'm coming, okay?